So you got casted for Boogie, and so you start on your first day. So that must have been a pretty crazy feeling, because like you said, you helped to do the casting, and it just kind of almost came full circle because I feel like even when you talked and you read through the script, you're like, oh, this sounds like me, but like you were like maybe also a bit nervous, like, hey, like I don't feel like, because I don't have any training like that, no prior experience, like to actually do this role, but now it's come and this is your first day on the scene. So like, yeah, how did you feel about that? And, what did you expect, kind of to happen next after that?
Dude, so I talk about nervous in that game.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So a lot of acting, and a lot of like movie set life is hurry up and wait. That's like the best like way to describe it. And so, my first day I had one line, literally one line. And I'm meeting up, Melvin, who's like my uncle agent guy. Who's a dick. Mike Mo. I love Mike Mo though. Yeah. But I basically slap his hand, and I'm like, just pay me my money. Yeah. Right. Like I've signed this contract, just pay me my money and get me out of here. Like I don't like this situation. Yeah. But I paced back and forth in my trailer. I show up at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Like, we need you here sharp 7 o'clock. I'm like, shit, like we're gonna shoot this early. Yeah. I get a haircut, go through the whole thing, right? And then I'm in my trailer for like 2 hours. Yeah. And I'm just literally, a trailer's not that big. Yeah. I had a nice trailer, but it was basically just pacing back and forth. There was a mirror, stop and look yourself in the mirror, and you're like, can you do this? Like, you're having all these talks. And like this literally, like, I wish like I was better at documenting more of my stuff, but it was literally just so much nerves going back and forth. And so that first day, I will never forget the butterflies and just kind of like the feeling and the anxiety. I think that you just naturally will have with no experience, and you're now the lead character of a movie.
And you're like the lead character of a film that's directed by a well-known director and high caliber cast. You have Perry Young and Pamela Chi. Like, you have a lot of big name people on there, and for you to play that lead role, I'm sure, like you said, it's probably really nerve wracking. But how did you kind of like get it all together and say, you know what, I'm gonna do this and like let's move forward?
Yeah, it was well, a lot of things, but number one was Eddie. Eddie told me like, yo, I know this is giving you like 3 weeks of swimming lessons and then telling you to go to the deep end. Like, I understand it. So like, we're here for you, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we got your back 100%. And so they kind of instilled just kind of that comfort and confidence in me. And he knew it from basketball. Like, this is how I can like get you. It's like getting an easy shot. It's like, how can I get you a layup? How can I get you an open shot so you can get your rhythm? And so a ton of support from him, as well as kind of our inner circle, as well as everyone on the cast, really. I think a lot of people could look at someone that's doing something for the first time in an area that they have no experience in, and easily just be like, I don't want to talk to him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to give him time of day. Every single person on this film was like, what can we do to help? Or you're doing great. Like, just keep doing this. Or like, I'm noticing this. Like, help me. And like, they'd all feel comfortable enough to pull me aside and tell me those things. And so as time went on, our principal photography was 5 weeks. By week 2 and 3 was when I kind of really just hit my stride and just being comfortable. And like by week 4 and 5, it was like, I don't want to go home, man. Like, I hope this movie could be like another 2 months, you know, like that's how much fun on set was and became. And it's funny how like these nerves turned into like confidence, and I think that's just like, as a human being, I don't know too many other situations for myself of having like a really big fear of being on camera, being recorded. Like, I wouldn't even do a selfie for myself, right? But like, having 3 cameras on you all over the place, and you have to perform under pressure. It was a reliance back onto sports and understanding that pressure, and like different arena, but same pressure to perform. Relying on things that you've been through in the past, and being open for what can happen in the future. And so like, a movie's a movie and it's great, and I'm so proud of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's really just kind of the life lessons I was able to like overcome within that experience. And I literally don't think it could have been any other way for me. It had to be a movie, and it had to be this movie about basketball and like some level of comfort in there for me to do that.
Right.
And so like I'm always going to be proud of it, and it's always something that's going to live on for forever. But like I'm really thankful for kind of the maturation and growing process that I got to go through as a young adult, that I'll now carry with me and hopefully pass down to my kids and their kids and my grandkids and all of that. Like there's so much in not letting fear, and people talk about it, but there's so much in not letting like the fear consume you and prevent you, ultimately prevent you from experiences. If we let fear block out an experience and we're putting something that hasn't happened yet as something that's happened, like you really could block yourself off from a potential movie opportunity or something like that. Like there literally could be a life-changing experience that you get cut off from. So I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah, and kind of outside of the basketball scope of the film, you know, you also have a romantic relationship with Taylor. So how did that chemistry like kind of happen? Like, was it rough in the beginning, or was it like, hey, from the start, like we like as professionals, like we know what we're doing?
I was like, you're the professional. You know what I mean? I'm gonna follow your lead. But no, she signed on to the movie like 2 days before shooting started.
Oh wow.
So same thing, like came on super late. And what we did was just spend, like when they call cut, we would just spend, they're resetting and it's like ants, right? Like everyone just starts doing their job, right? We would just spend like the 5 minutes just talking to each other. And it was just like being humans, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just like, I met a new friend. Let's ask them questions. Let's just get to know them. And she has such a fun, high spirit. And like, it's her energy. If you don't like, it's not like you have to match that, but if you're kind of like the turned off and like and you're low energy, like you're trying really hard not to let her energy affect you, and you're almost trying harder to not let it affect you than to let it affect you. And so it was that mixed in with just kind of like, yes, we're making a movie, but we didn't talk about like any of that stuff. And I don't know if people do, I'm sure people do, but like we were never like, like, you know, our characters might do this. Like, we should try it. It was just like, this feels natural to us. Like, this feels like what this kid would do. This feels like what this girl would do. Like, this is a high school relationship. And so it was a lot of just kind of being you, being yourself, and kind of drawing back on those experiences. But her and I got chemistry right off the back from just like hanging out. And I think that's why like it looks pretty natural on the screen.
It really does.
Because that's literally us just like kind of like working out the kinks at times. But it was such a great experience. Her working with Pop.
Let's talk about Pop. That because Pop. Well, first I had like a suspicion that he was in the movie, but then like I didn't know how heavy his character was. Like he's basically like the antagonist to you know. And what was it like working with him?
Amazing, man. Like that guy, rest in peace to Pop Smoke, man. Like I feel so lucky to have spent so much time with him, albeit it wasn't like a crazy amount of time, but just being around his presence. And there's something about New York culture is just different, right? Like New York culture, you see it with like the Knicks, like they ride and die for like their people and their like their teams, right? And Pop was like that up and coming Brooklyn drill rapper that like everyone was like, this is who we're talking about now. And so just being in the presence of that energy, like you pick something up off of that. And so, you know, there was, when we shot basketball scenes, there's literally kids like surrounding the court, like on top of walkways or go over the freeway. And there's like pop, pop, pop. And it's just like, it's so cool to be a part of. And then to watch him navigate. And I mean, my guy wasn't like, he was 20 years old, you know, like so young, so talented, but like handled all of that seamlessly. And like, you know, wasn't like a pop, pop, pop. And it's just like, nah, like any kid, come up to him, dap, say what's up, rub his head, like just do something that's just like acknowledging. And like, it was like, so it's such a cool experience to see, and to be a part of. And then working with him, like the funniest thing is like, he's actually like, you kind of seen some of his music that's come out lately, like talking more about like love and stuff like that. But it would be so funny. There was a scene that I don't think it didn't make the cut of the movie, but we're like fist fighting, right? And so like there's stunt people that tell you how to punch and take like, you know, throw a punch and act like you're getting hit. Right. And both of us literally like for like 5 takes straight, like I think our first one we came out, we hop out the bus, and I'm like about to throw a punch. Yeah. And this guy's just smiling at me. And I'm like, bro, you can't smile at me. And he's like, you're smiling. And then like we watched the playback. We're both just smiling at each other, trying to throw punches. And it looks so funny. And Eddie's like, bro, you guys don't like each other. Stop, right? But like that's just kind of like our bond and our natural like personas aren't to like be angry and like, you know, fighting mentality. It's just like, dude, I respect you so much. You're a cool person. You're dope. And then once he kind of knew and like we got to actually play, we did kind of the non-basketball related stuff first. Once he got to see that I could like hoop, he was like, wow, like you can hoop. And I was like, yeah, man, like I could do this, you know? But it was such an honor. It's such a pleasure to work with him, man, because he truly is like one of the most talented people, if not the most talented person I've been around. Nice. Like hands down, without a question. Just the way he carry himself, and like he literally go from studio to set, back to studio. Crazy. That's his life. You know what I mean? And just it was like, damn, bro, like where do you get the battery pack? You know what I mean? Like I'm here too, but like I'm tired.
I feel like gassed,
you know, and he's just constant. So his grind was something different, man.
Yeah, I bet. And so let's talk about so you go through the film, you film completes, and so what was it like after production? I'm sure there was like a wait period until it dropped, you know, and so tell me about
after
how that
sucked, bro. Like we finished this thing in like when did we finish it? End of October or like the middle of October, I think. Early October. I got to stay in New York for like an extra month, which was cool. So I got to have like a little fake winter experience in New York. Moved back, and then literally moving back to LA, COVID started, man.
Oh yeah.
And so this film was set to drop in like fall time of 2020. Okay. And then it was just like the longest limbo period, and you're just like, well, like the film don't really matter. Like, am I gonna die or not? Right? Like that was like the question. And then once COVID kind of cleared or got better, we were actually one of the first things back into theaters. Yeah. And so I think it kind of helped us, may have hurt us, because I think people at that time were still like in March, people were still kind of like about like going out, and movie theaters were like 25% capacity. But the movie did really well for given the circumstances and state of the world. It did really well. It's one of those movies that like critics that analyze the movie probably not gonna like it, but like if you know a basketball player, you are a basketball player, you like understand the world of New York, like street culture and just kind of being in the mix. It's kind of like that, like it's like an ATL. Like if you want to be immersed in that, this fully immerses you in that, and allows you kind of like a portal to come in a little bit. And so it might not be like the highest rated film, and that might be like the most touted film, but it's one of those that like really hits for like people that are authentic and real. And like that's kind of been the recognition of it. And I think that that's like a pretty direct representation of that.
Okay. And you talked about recognition. So like, did you feel like your life changed, like even in your personal life or anything?
No, because like I'm like, it wasn't big enough to like a Squid Games type thing, right? But even if it was, like what I did when the premiere came out is like I had all of my like childhood friends that I've known since I was in, I don't even know, like 4th grade, 5th grade, like all come, and it was like I didn't even really want like the celebration for me. Like I was ready for it to be out into the world and be out there, but it was really just like boys, like it's a movie, man. Like, this is all of us in this shit. It's not just me. My name's on it, but like this is all of us in this. Right. But I invited them, and I wanted them to come spend time with me because it was just to remind me and reground me to understand that like this movie doesn't define me. You know what I mean? And like I hope I get to make more. I hope I get to do more things in the space. But I got granted 1 ticket, and I'm fine with this ticket, and I'm okay with that. I've signed it. I've sealed it. I've delivered it, and it will be out there for life. But like this movie doesn't define me, and so it was just like I will never be the person that like switches up. lifestyles might naturally change, right?
Sure.
But to the core of me and to the principles of me, and to my values and morals, like that's what I'm so thankful to have parents that taught me that, because it was just like, you don't take that and flip it in reverse and turn it on its head. Like that's the time to really rely on it, get back into it, and take it to the next level. And so life did not change. I'm still like a normal human being. I love talking to people, love being around people. And as much as people want to come up to me and say like, oh, movie star, it's not like that, man. I'm just a human being trying to do good things and put more good stuff into the world.
Yeah. And I know that you did a lot of collaborations with Hennessy, and then you did the short film with Unite the Bay. So can you talk about those, and then also some new projects that you might have coming, or
for sure,
areas that you want to get into?
For me, Hennessy was dope, man. Like I'm a hen god. I'm put myself out there.
Straight Bay, like
straight
roots,
Bay.
you know?
It's our juice.
But
to get a package that says Hennessy on it. To get glasses that gave me a damn ring and a chain that is Hennessy, and it's all like plated, but it's cool. Like it's just so cool to see things that like you already consume show up at your doorstep. And you're like, this is dope, man. Like this is just dope, and they see the representation in their way, and to partner with them and to be a part of their kind of like seeding of stuff. They have such a big influence in the NBA. It was really cool just to get like an NBA Hennessy like pack of something,
right?
You know,
right.
And sorry, what would you say? What would you ask before that?
Yeah, and then
Unite the Bay.
Yeah, Unite the Bay. How did that come about?
Unite the Bay was crazy. That thing started as like a concept idea. Approached from like my kind of like wanting to speak out, and then another group that was organizing something. We got a bike group involved. Like it was like so many weekly Zooms over a course of like 3 months, coming together, and we were able to put out like a minute and a half long short film. That is fairly powerful, without a lot of speaking, obviously. But it's just really about the emotion of it, because I think that that's something as an Asian and an Asian American myself, was like, I want to speak, I just don't know how. But like, it's not necessarily about speaking. It's really just like, how can I deal with all this emotion that I'm going through? Obviously, I don't agree with it. Obviously, I don't want it to happen anymore. But like, the best way to deal with that isn't to go be violent yourself, right? And just start knocking people out. Like that's not going to solve anything. But I also have to sit with these emotions. And so I think part of that is just kind of the reflection of like, man, there's emotion that everyone goes through in their different way. And it's about finding an outlet to exercise that, to feel comfortable, to feel whole, to feel bigger than you are, to let that go. And that's kind of like the kid joining the rally. It becomes now not necessarily about him, it becomes about the rally, and having kind of that higher power, that bigger force kind of come in. And so it was pretty powerful. And it was a little bit more like moody than I like originally like we originally thought, but it came out great. And it's just dope to work with people, and they have a similar message in that. They gave me kind of free reign to just like, how do you want it to portray yourself? And it came together. It's just cool. It's really, really cool, man. And as far as future stuff for me, it's like, I want to get into, I would love to be on a show. I would love to get into like TV show opportunities. Obviously would love to do a movie, but I'm a guy that like, I'm not gonna just do anything. Like I'm not just like freely molding to just ready to do anything. Like I have a moral compass that I want to follow. Of course. And I don't know if that's going to be in entertainment. I would love to do any entertainment spaces of things. I have a management team. And I think it's just about trying to connect like opportunity with the right, like I guess right opportunity and being ready. And trying to kind of create that nice little kind of composition together. But nothing down the pipeline per se. And it's really just trying to like, I guess, buy into being life of an actor. And seeing what happens, man. Yeah.
Well, Taylor, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for coming on this podcast and telling your story.
Thank you for having me. Man.
We definitely got to do more things together.
Absolutely.
But thank you again. And this is a True Diamond VVS podcast, and we're signing off. And we'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.